What is going on, everyone? AP over here at Run Pure Sports, bringing you once again the Strokes Gain Show. We got the John Deere Classic. Let's dive right into it. I got my two guys here. Hoop, what is going on, man? How was your week last week?
Yeah, the week overall was pretty solid. I had some good teams in there. I was on some Cam Davis. I was on Troy Merritt. I believe he was one of the guys I picked as the winner. So, it was definitely a good week overall. Bryson doing whatever he did was pretty disappointing, but got to give credit once again to our boy Snyder. I mean, he kind of alluded to the fade, and it worked out fabulously for him. Bryson, maybe I'm starting to think maybe, we're overrating him a little bit here at Run Pure Sports. So it's something that I'm going to adjust moving forward. The way I view him. I mean, yes, I think he has, a big ceiling every time he tees it up. But, maybe we're a little jaded on the Bryson thing because, he won BigT, the million essentially and whatnot. So I'm going to readjust kind of, the way I view Bryson, I think, moving forward and kind of analyze him a little bit more tournament to tournament. He is really, really bad with his irons, his short irons. I mean, just really, really bad. So if you're going to drive it way out there and leave yourself with short shots, is that necessarily the best thing for him? Because he's just so bad with these short. I mean, you're talking 50, 60 yards out where he's like ending up 40 feet away from the pin. Like, that's just unacceptable. So that was my one regret. And, the one thing about DFS, you always have to be willing to readjust. I think I'm going to try to make a little readjustment on Big Daddy moving forward.
Yeah, and one thing, just kind of thinking back, hindsight with how soft the course was playing, it did kind of make me second guess Matt Wolf, Bryson, some of these bombers. It brought the shorter hitters into play. And, I think those type of conditions are something that we need to, take note of a little bit more, moving forward. And then, Bryson, outside of one event, that one big T $1 million, I mean, he's been shit. So I know that's not going to go over well with some people here, but it's kind of the fact that it's been. So Uncle T, I got to say, we pressured Snyder last week in your spot. We pressured him hard on getting on Bryson. He did not budge, and he said he stayed with his conviction that he was a fade, and he got on a Flower. Now, all of us have been on Ricky Flower, and it's been a total bust, miscut, hasn't panned out. Now, Flower didn't do much, but he did make the cut. I mean, Snyder's been on a tear, man. So let me kick it over to you. You were vacation last week. How was your week? Did you play any DFS?
Yeah, it's always good to be back on with you guys, talking a golf slate. I put together 3 teams last week. I did watch the show, tried to tune in for a little bit, and wasn't able to get the connection or link. So I did try to dial in and say hello to you guys and maybe give a play or two. But no, I played 3 lineups last week. All 3 had Bryson. I was 5 of 6 of all 3. So Bryson cost me 6 of 6 of the 3 lineups that I did make. Clearly on vacation, didn't want to go too crazy. I agree with what you guys are saying about Bryson. You guys know I'm a Bryson guy too. I mean, there's a lot of other guys I like as well, but you got the numbers speak for themselves. And right now we got to take kind of a wait and see approach on when he can turn his game back around. Now, right now behind me here, him and Aaron Rodgers, discount double checker, taking care of business against Phil and Tom Brady for Uncle T and Big T, because we got some giblets on it. But back to Bryson, I agree with you guys. Next week at the Open, be interesting to see where he's priced, but clearly going to take a kind of a backseat approach with Bryson the next few weeks.
He's already on the fade list, Uncle T.
Well, I don't know if it'll be a full fade, but again, yeah, I mean, you guys are right though. You guys are definitely right. We got to kind of wait and see what he's going to do with his caddy situation. I do think that played a big part in Wednesday night when all that broke. I should have gotten off of him, and I didn't. And you guys probably wish you would have as well. But anyway, as far as this week, again, we talked a little bit pre-show. I know the NBA show ran a little bit long, but this is a week where AP, I know you mentioned Hoop. I don't know if you've mentioned, but I like weeks like this in a way that aren't where you got to dig in a little bit more and find some diamonds in there, down low or however you want to build your team. I think there's still an edge. So I'm looking forward to breaking this one down with you guys. Yeah.
All right. So it's easy, guys. You can go on all different shows or whatever, and you can get a breakdown of the course. But I'm going to tell you what you need. What you need this week are guys hitting fairways, and you need good putters. So, I mean, and in between that, you obviously need guys that are good on approach. But diving into that statistic, even further, it isn't fully on approach. We saw, I think it was Fratelli, like almost lose strokes on approach, I believe, made them all up putting. So in my opinion, this week, keep it simple. You need guys that are good off the tee. It's not strokes gained off the tee. It is hitting fairways. You need them, able to find greens, and you want their putter to be hot. So it's a pretty straightforward course, a lot of birdies. I think it's wise to get a little bit different this week. Hoop, do you have any other thoughts on the course and stats that you're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you just want, pretty accurate guys off the tee. I mean, it's an easy course. There's not going to be many issues for these guys. So in this event, it kind of raises the variance, and it also brings a lot more guys into play in terms of who can come out and win this event. It kind of seems like to me too, it's a course history type course too, where a lot of guys typically play well year in and year out. So, I mean, that's not a stat, something I look at super closely every week, but this week I kind of am. I mean, there's guys like Zach Johnson, who doesn't matter what sort of form he has, he comes to this place and competes. He likes this place. So there's a few guys like that this week that, I'm going to be targeting. And these are the weeks that are kind of tough because you go up to the top and, Daniel Bergerson at 11-1. And, yes, he's probably the best guy in this field when you look at everything, but 11-1, I mean, you got to, kind of adjust how you think. You got to kind of adjust the salaries. And, Cam Davis, we just paid like 7.2K for him last week. Now you're paying 10-1 because he's coming off that win. So you got to kind of adjust how you think at events like this.
Yeah, I agree with that. Very good breakdown. So if you haven't yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps us keep this free each and every week. I know the field is weak this week. Doesn't seem as fun, but I promise you guys, we're going to find the winners. We're very good at that. So, Hoop, let me keep it with you. I'm going to do it different this week. So one thing over here, what we do, we go tier by tier. But the 10K and up range is just like, there's not that many guys. Let's go 9K and up. That's how we're going to start this week. Hoop, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I like that idea. All right. So, I mean, for me, I look at this top range, and I mean, I know right away, Sung J M's not a guy I'm going to play at 10.7K. And like I just kind of got done explaining, you kind of have to view this a little bit differently in terms of salary cap. You're going to be paying more for everyone this week. But 10.7 for Sung J. I just don't really see the win upside. I'm going to cross him off my list right out of the gate. Cam Davis at 10-1. I typically don't play guys coming off wins. He popped up out of nowhere last week. We were on him. I mean, we talked about him. I played him in a lot of my lineups. And he did well, got the win at the Rocket Mortgage. I'm not going to play him here this week, but going back to back, I mean, winning on the PGA Tour is very, very difficult. Going back to back is, even more difficult. So Cam Davis is the next guy I'm crossing off my list. So that leaves, two guys in this upper tier, Berger and Brian Harmon. Now there's a $700 difference, and, maybe I'm a little bit biased, but right now, if you ask me heads up, who do I think is better between Harmon and Berger? I'm going to say Brian Harmon, and I get a $700 discount. Sure, I'll take it. So, I really got to see how many guys I like, cheap to see if I can play both Berger and Harmon. But, honestly, the way it's shaping up for me, I feel like I can only play one of these guys. It's probably going to be Brian Harmon at 10-4, unless something changes, unless you guys convince me on a lot of cheap guys this week, which could be the case. I'm very open on the show in terms of guys I'm on. I'll get on guys based on what you guys say. I obviously value what you guys have to say a ton. So, I mean, if there's cheap guys that you guys like, maybe I reconsider and get them. But right now, Harmon's the guy in this upper range that I like. And another reason why it's probably going to be hard for me to play a guy like Berger, I like Henley at 9.9. Played played well at this event, back-to-back solid events overall, U.S. Open, Travelers, 13th, 19th. Kevin Streelman, another guy that kind of suits this whole setup pretty well, 9.7K, not a comfortable price for Kevin Streelman, but had been playing well up until that missed cut at the Travelers. I'm going to be back on Streel Daddy. Alec Noren's a guy I've been playing a lot lately, and the results have been pretty good, especially last week. We were on him 10 point, or I don't know what his price was, but finished T4, very solid. I mean, had a huge, what was he? Shot a 64 in round 4, which obviously propelled him quite a bit. Aaron Wise is a name that people always talk about, and I'll get on him here, get off him here. I just don't play the guy, and I feel pretty good about it. So I'll continue to be off him at 9-2. Siwoo, no thanks. I don't know. When I play him, he sucks. When I don't play him, sometimes he does well. I just don't think he's very good. I played him. What event was that? Maybe the Travelers, and he sucks. I don't know. He's a guy I just don't play. And Seamus Power, I believe it was you, AP, about 4 weeks ago out of nowhere. You kind of brought him up on the show, and you're like, yeah, Seamus Power. And then he just goes on this run, 9th, 19th, 19th, 8th. 9K for Seamus Power. Yeah, it seems like a lot, but he's playing some of the best golf in this field. So I will definitely be on him. So Power, Noren, Streel Daddy, Henley, Harmon are kind of the guys I'm looking at in this 9K and above range.
I would love to sit here and take credit for Seamus Power, but
then just do it.
Me. I can't. It was Snyder. It was Snyder.
No surprise.
Snyder was he was the Seamus Power guy. 3 weeks ago, I think it was an event. He qualified, just scooted in. I mean, a lot of models didn't have projections on him. I looked at 3 or 4 different sites across the industry, didn't even have projections on him. Snyder was on him. Shout out to you, Snyder. Great call. And Power, his price is insane. So Uncle T, let me kick it over to you. What are you doing with this 9K range?
Yeah, starting with Seamus Power, I've actually been on him as well, other than that very first week. So I've been on board the Seamus Power bandwagon with Schneider. We've been locked and loaded on him. But going back up to the top, I couldn't agree more with the above 10K guys with what Hoop said, because Berger is one of my guys. I mean, I really like Danny Berger, but again, you got the Open next week. I'm not saying I don't know why he's playing this week at all, but I don't know if he's going to be totally focused on. I shouldn't say totally focused on winning. I don't know where his head's going to be. He's got to, going over the Open next week. He's the probably clearly the toast of this field for sure, as far as player talent, if you will, just pure golf talent. 11-1, like Coop said, I mean, you're paying a pretty hefty price. I mean, for Danny Berger, who, has only won a couple times on tour. So for me, he's going to be an easy fade. Sung J M, there's just no way I'm going to play Sung J at 10-7, even in this type of a field where it's a little bit watered down. Cam Davis, absolutely not coming after that, that win, elevated price tag. Brian Harmon, I was thinking about earlier in the day, I was talking offline with Schneider. I think he's fading the entire 10K range. I said that's probably a good idea. The one sprinkle I will have is Brian Harmon, because I do think that he could win this tournament, clearly. And he's been playing good enough, and he could be ready to break in, with a win. And this is the perfect type of a field, perfect type of a track, where I do think he has some win equity for sure up top. So I do like Brian Harmon as far as my 10K guy. But going down below that, I'm kind of locked and loaded with Hoop so far here. Henley and Streelman are two of my favorite plays. Henley, he's always a good fit for me on birdie courses, where it's a birdie fest. He was T2 here last year. I think he shot a 61 on Sunday. So clearly, it's just one tournament here, but still he's got some good vibes. He last time he showed up here, he shot a 61, finished T2. He's playing some good golf, 19th, 13th. The last couple of weeks. So I do like Henley. Streelman is the guy that I think I'm all in on. It's going to sound crazy at that elevated price tag. I actually liked the miscut last week. He shoots 67-72. So he, and again, last week when the cut line was, what was the cut? 4 or 5 under last week, poorly 67 and a 72 and missed the cut. So he wasn't too far off last week, and it broke that big string of top 20s I think 5 in a row maybe that he had. So I don't mind at all going back to him. And again, I like playing Streelman on the easier courses. And this clearly is setting up as, if not the easiest, one of the 2 or 3 easiest courses on tour. So I do like Streelman. Kevin Na is one of the easiest fades I can really see in recent memory on our shows. Like 9,500 for Kevin Na. I just couldn't imagine clicking that button. Alex Noren, he goes 67, 64 on the weekend last week and finishes, what was it, T4 for Norton. It's the first top 10 he's had all year. I don't mind going back to him here. But again, with me liking, maybe Harmon up top and then the 2 with Henley and Streelman, I don't think I can fit another guy in here. If I do, it would be Noren. Aaron Wise, I'm in agreement there too. It seems like when I play him, he struggles, and then he'll randomly pop up for a top 10 or a top 15. I'm not gonna kind of hope that he shows up this week. Siwoo Kim, no thanks. Seamus Power is the one I want to get your all's take on, because clearly he's playing some, like we mentioned earlier, some really good golf. But again, I don't want to play 4 or 5 guys up here. So I'm trying to X one of these guys out of my pool. AP, maybe you can talk me off of one of these guys that Hoop and I mentioned, because I can't play all of them.
Yeah, like I think the 10K and up range is pretty easy. I think Berger, I agree with you guys. You, Uncle T, like fading him. I'm not going to pay 11K for him. I think, his eyes are probably, when do you think he's flying overseas? Like right away? Like, is he going to pull a Brooks Koepka on us? I don't know. Sung JM though, I'm not a Sung JM guy, but this dude looked like he was really trying at the Rocket Mortgage. He was finding every fairway, and his irons look good. And his putter is trending in the right direction. And I feel like people are going to talk themselves out of him this week. One thing we always talk about Sung JM is always more often than not fading him. But the time to play him is in these weak field events. And so for me, I love to fade Sung JM, especially at an elevated price tag. I'm trying to get different this week and go against some of the things that I usually do. I have a little bit of interest in him. I think that there's a different motivation. He's not playing the Open. He's not playing the Open, right? Or the Olympics, right? Or no, he's playing the Olympics. Getting ready for the Olympics.
If he gets a medal at the Olympics, he doesn't have to do the 2 years of military service.
Yeah, can't imagine living in a country that would make you do that. Unless you win an Olympic medal, who knows? But is what it is. But the other fades for me, Cam Davis, and then so Daniel Berger, Cam Davis are easy. Brian Harmon, former winner here, and then so for me it's between Sung JM and Brian Harmon. I don't think I can fade Brian Harmon here. He's playing so good. T5 at the Travelers. It just seems like a bad player to X out of your pool. And then we get down to what a range that I think is really nice. Russell Henley, Kevin Streelman, Alex Noren are the guys I'm on very, very heavily. I think I'm going to be off Aaron Wise. Aaron Wise is always a guy that people start to bring up in weak fields because he's good with his irons. The guy's putter is gone. I don't know. I feel like people out there are talking themselves into playing him this week. I don't want to do it at an elevated price tag. I would much rather play Alex Noren. And this is what I'm talking about this week, guys. It's guys that can get off the tee, which Noren can. He ranks 29th in this field at hitting fairways, not strokes gains off the tee, hitting fairways. And then he's one of the best putters by far in this field. And so I think he's a way better play than Aaron Wise is. So I'm off Wise, off Na. I'm off Siwoo Kim. He's not putting very good. That's where I think I would rather play Sung JM. And then we're down to Seamus Power. It's hard to blame what this guy's doing. He's ranked 25th in finding fairways. He ranks 6th on approach. He ranks 3rd right now in birdies. So I don't think he's a guy we can fade. I think we got to be on him. It just depends on what you're trying to do this week. I'm MMEing. I'm maxing that $5. I'll have a couple main builds, like a 3 max. And I'll probably be, it gets tough because, you can't really play all of these guys. he's a guy, honestly, like I might be just a little overweight on. So I'm not like pressing the all-in button on him. I think I would rather have Alex Noren higher, but I don't want to fade him either. So he's kind of like you said, Uncle T, in that awkward spot. But for me in this range, I'm going to say, this is out there for me, but I'm going to say my top two plays are Sung Jam's close. I got to go Russell Henley and Alex Noren. I will have a sprinkle of Sung Jam. I wanted to say Sung Jam because I think even though ownership projections are kind of high on him, I don't think that's going to be the case. Like I'm showing 15%. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, under?
He'll be less.
Sung J?
Yeah.
Lower. Has to be lower.
Okay.
Probably 11 or 12 tops.
Yeah. So, Hoop, you're 1 and 2 in this range.
Number one is going to be Brian Harmon. I mean, we've been Brian Harmon people here for a while, and I think he's the best golfer in this field. Call me crazy, but I really do. So 10-4 Harmon, and then Noren. I mean, we've been riding Noren as well. The results have been great. He's playing phenomenal golf. If he's motivated and if he's in it to win it this week, I think he is, a shoo-in for a top 15-ish performance.
Yeah, I agree with that. Uncle T, what are your 1 and 2 in this range? And then take us into the 8K range.
Yeah, my 1 and 2 are going to be Russell Henley and then Kevin Streelman. I do like the other calls as well, though, with Harmon and Alex Noren as well. I have some exposure there. I think as well, just to put a cap on the Seamus Power thing for me, guys. I've got 5 builds this week. He will be in at least one of them, but I might target him a little bit more in matchups this week. I know there's one matchup that I already have with him minus 120. I know this is a DFS show, but I'm going to try to get my exposure maybe a little bit more over on the matchup side. He's minus 120 over Dylan Fratelli, who is the defending champion. So I really like that. So I will have some power, but I think it might be more on the matchup side. So that's for me. So, but going into the 8K range, this is an interesting range because at the very top, you got Patton Kazar, who I rarely play. He's got a 25th and a 3rd sandwiched in between 3 missed cuts. He has pretty good course history here. Not sure what to do with him. He feels like he's way, way overpriced like some of these guys, but I feel like on some of these weeks where he pops, I think this could be one of those types of weeks. I don't know that he could maybe go low enough to win this thing, but I kind of like him a little bit. He's coming in, I think I see him right now around 10%. I kind of like him a little bit. Going down, I don't like Maverick Mcnea, I don't think this week. Troy Merritt's an interesting one, similar to Seamus Power. They've both been coming in on quite a run. Troy Merritt's been playing some really good golf. 4 tops 10s in his last 8. He lost, obviously, in the playoff last week. We'll see how that affects him, if any. But I'd rather probably go down to Lucas Glover at 8,600. I really like him this week. 8th at the Colonial in late May. He's got a 10th place finish here last year. I like Lucas Glover. And I know Hoop mentioned it at his Open. A couple guys that have tremendous course history, and we got the Zach Johnson here. And I know in a little bit we'll talk about Steve Stricker, the other 2 older guys, if you will, but have played this course for a long time. Those are the top 2 money leaders in this event. I like Stricker quite a bit, not to bury the headline on that coming forward, but I think I might try to fade one of these 2. And right now it might be Zach Johnson. So I like Glover. If you go down a little bit, how long can Hank the Tank perform for us? We've been on Hank Lebioda, or however you pronounce it, for a few weeks. He's
much longer.
He's been crushing. I think I'm going to trust him one more week. I mean, he's literally playing at an all-time high with his confidence. And again, this is a course where he can go low. He's not afraid to shoot a 62 or 63. So I kind of like him. Going down a little bit, I was on Ryan Moore a little bit earlier in the day. I kind of was eyeballing him, and I think I'm going to come off of Moore. Doc Redman's kind of let us down a little bit. I'll pass on him, pass on Munoz. Doug Gim in Vegas, I don't really like anything towards the bottom end. So for me, a little bit of Kazire up top, Glover, Lebioda, or am I saying that right? I never know how to pronounce that name. And then who is the other one? And possibly Troy Merritt. So those are the guys I like in that 8K range.
Yeah, I like that. I think you did say it right, but I wouldn't ask me. I'm one of the worst on the team at pronouncing names. You should have seen Spread and I talking tennis the other day. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. If you go and try to pronounce those tennis names, I mean, just go look at them. Worse than hockey. I guarantee it. Hoop, talk to me about the 8K range. Who do you like in this range?
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of guys, and I think it's enough where I probably got to make some cuts, and I'm unable to make the cuts at this point. I mean, the guys I like, I mean, starting at 8-8, Maverick Mcnea. I mean, we were on him last week. He's been playing pretty well, 20, 30, 21st. Just playing really solid, weak field here. I think he can definitely excel. I know this is Snyder's boy, so I'm curious. Well, I'm assuming Snyder's on him, but I just like getting that verification. With a guy as hot as Snyder, I like to hear the words out of his mouth. So I'm assuming he's on Mav. That's his boy. I'm definitely on Mav, 8.8K. Troy Merritt, been riding Troy Merritt, played him last week. Golf phenomenally well. I'm going to be back on him in this weaker field. Glover, I like. Zach Johnson, I like. Lebiota has been treating us very, very well. Just, I think Uncle T used the word, he looks comfortable out there, and he really does. He's just going about his business, getting it done. Just been playing very, very solid. I mean, is he making that next leap? It appears that he is. A guy that just fucking tilts me beyond belief is Doc Redman, and I am going to play him a little bit. I'm assuming the ownership comes way down. He's pretty popular, a couple weeks ago, but he's been really, I mean, it seems like he had golfed better, but you really look at the results, 59-42, did have the second at Palmetto, 61st and a cut. Maybe I shouldn't play this guy. Maybe this guy. I'm curious to see what you say. AP.
Hoop, not to interrupt you. I do think from what I've seen earlier on the first projection ownership, I have him pretty high. So I'm seeing him 19.
I got him low. I got him like 10.
Oh, really?
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, but either
I think
way,
he's going to be lower.
Yeah, I might be on him a little bit. I don't know. I could be talked off him. If I got to make some cuts, he'd probably be cut. And then the last guy in this range that I like is Vegas. Vegas is a guy that just tends to golf much better in these weaker field events, easier courses. I could see him popping and having a big week here. So I'm very high on Vegas this week as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting range. I'm sticking to the rules that I kind of talked about. I want good drivers of the ball. I want guys that are good putters. That leads me to Patton Kazar right off the bat. He's not been a good driver of the golf ball, but he's been one of the best putters in the field. So I'm already torn with a decision on what to do. When you look at his approach game and his birdies, it leans me to be playing him a little bit. So I always make my final cuts tomorrow. So I'm going to have him start, and then I go back through and I sweep the list to get it under 40. And, he's going to be one of those guys that hopefully he makes it. But if I have to cut him, I'll definitely be fine cutting him. Maverick Mcnea, good driver of the golf ball, putters trending in the right direction, making a ton of birdies. Absolutely a guy we want to be on. Troy Merritt, very good driver of the golf ball, ranks first in putting, in the field, and ranks first in creating opportunities for himself to make birdies. Absolutely, I'm going to be on this guy. This guy made an ace, phenomenal, one bouncer, and swished it right in the cup. It was awesome to see. Couldn't close it out, but he was right there. And, he has mixed history here, but I like how his game is looking. And I think he's going to, have another nice week for us. I'm torn on Glover. I think I'm probably going to fade him. I can't remember exactly what you guys said, but he's a name in this field. He's typically been a guy, I believe, that has some okay Open Championship experience, if my memory serves me right. So, I don't know if he's in the field next week or not. I mean, do you guys know real quick?
Glover?
Yeah, Glover.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether or not he's in the Open.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know Zach Johnson is. I mean,
he's in it. He's in it, AP.
Yeah.
I got the list
Glover
right.
is, okay, yeah.
Lucas Glover is in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be off him this week then. One of those things where it's like, man, out of every, they got to travel across the pond outside of certain people like Zach Johnson, who always loves this event. And obviously has won it a couple times, and he can just travel out there and play fine anyway. Lucas Glover, though, I think I'm going to be off. Hank the Tank, definitely going to be on him. He fits my criteria, ranks 9th in finding fairways, ranks 4th in putting in the field. His putter is absolutely on fire, and he's good on approach too. I think he's the real deal, and I think he's absolutely going to show it in a weak field event. So he's a guy that honestly I think we should all be very overweight on. Ryan Moore, honestly, I think I'm going to be off him. I know he has good history here, but the putter is what isn't working for me. Doc Redman, I'm going to get back on him. I'm going to trust kind of what I'm seeing there. He had a T2 at the Palmetto. This is a field that he should be able to take advantage of. I'm hoping that people are lower on him, which I think they will be after the disaster of what we saw last week. But, he's not bad off the tee. He's 41st in the field at finding fairways. His putter's hot right now. It's just he makes mistakes. That's his problem. He makes doubles. And that's kind of what's killing him. He can't do that at an event like this. If he does that, it's going to absolutely kill him. We can see what we saw last week, obviously. Then Doug Gim. I like Doug Gim. The only concern for me is the putter hasn't been good, but I do feel like he's going to be a nice cut maker this week, and he gives you some nice upside. So it's a stacked range. A lot of guys I like, but I am making some cuts too. If I had to rank my top 2 guys, it would be Hank, and it would be Doc Redman would be my 1 and 2. Uncle T, give me your 1 and 2 in this range.
Yeah, 1 and 2 for me. Sorry, I was getting the update on Bryson. They just went 3 up on Phil and Wonder Boy Tom Brady. But anyway, for me in this range, I really like Patton Kazar. I think up top. You guys, I think AP. I think you might have joined me on the Kazar thoughts, and I just think he's, like I said, he's a good putter. It of course does set up good for him. He's got a couple 25th and a 30th. Plays a good golf. I think he is a little more boom or bust than I would like for 8,900, but I do like him, so I'll go Patton Kazar. And then my number 2 is close. It's between Glover and Lebiota. So I do like Glover, though. I'm going to disagree just a little bit on Lucas Glover. I think this course sets it up really nicely for him. And, 4 top 10s in his last 8 in this type of field, I'll take that upside.
Yeah, I can understand that. Hoop, you're 1 and 2, and then take us down into the 7K range.
Yeah, 1, 2. It's going to be, the guys that I kind of been riding, Hank the Tank, and then Troy Merritt. I really like Troy Merritt this week. So, 2 guys that have treated us well, and I'm going to continue riding them. 7K range is a loaded range. I'd say more so at the top than the bottom. Really like the top of this range, the bottom of this range. Not so much. I have some mild interest in Kyle Stanley. Beau Hossler has been playing really well lately. A guy that, I think you can really only look at him in these weaker field events. Not a guy that you want going out competing with the top golfers in the world, but 19th, 10th, and 25th in his last 3. I like that. So Hosler, Harold Varner. I don't know what to do with Varner. I really, as of now, I have him in there, but gosh, does he just disappoint? And he's a guy that he'd shoot up for these big performances, but we haven't seen it lately. 2 missed cuts, 47, 32nd, 49th, another missed cut. And his last, solid finish was 2nd at the RBC Heritage. So curious to hear you guys say on Varner. Going to continue to ride my boy Patty Perez. Just getting the job done on a very consistent basis. I love Patty Perez. Hickok, 7.7K, coming off the 2nd place finish of the Travelers, was not great this past week, kind of fell off over the weekend, but I think he can get back on track here. So I like him. He had the 14th as well at the Charles Schwab not too long ago. So Hickok, have some interest in. Steve Stricker, it's crazy to think that he'll probably end up being one of the higher owned guys on this slate, but it's warranted. He's played very well here. Of course, it sets up well for him. His odds to win, I just saw, were incredible. It was he was way, let me pull this up on DraftKings.
33, wasn't he, Hoop? 33.
Yeah, he's 33 to 1.
And he's the 28th price golfer.
Yeah. So great value when you compare odds to price tag. Then it kind of falls off a little bit for me. One guy I definitely like is Patrick Rogers at 7.4K. Seems like an event where He could take advantage of this weaker field. Scott Stallings, I have some interest in. Norlander at 7-3, I don't mind. These guys down here, though, are more, I don't mind type plays, not going to be core type guys. Kadira is very interesting. Kadira was playing some phenomenal golf for a month straight. Played well in round one. He was 6 under, I believe. What was he? 5 under after the first round, and then played well on the front 9 that he played in round 2 at the Rocket Mortgage, and then just completely shit the bed and just had some blow up holes. This is typically the time when I start getting off guys. But just imagine, okay, if Kadira did not have that blow up in the second round, made the cut, had a top 40 performance, you'd be looking at Kadira probably maybe in the mid to low 8s, maybe 8,200.
In the high 7s for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, so you're getting $1,000 discount at least because he blew up one round, first bad round in a long time. I think I might go back to Kadira at 7K, and I don't know what sort of ownership, but if he makes that cut and finishes, top 30 last week, he's probably one of the highest owned guys on the slate. Now no one wants to play him because he sucked for like a 6-hole stretch. I'm definitely going to be back on him, especially in tournaments this week.
I may have missed this when I was listening to you, but you're back on your boy Richie, right?
Oh, 7-6. I know. I mean, gosh.
You didn't mention him?
I didn't mention him. No.
I just was like, the whole time you were talking, I'm like, just all I'm hearing is Richie Werenski.
Yeah.
T25 last week. You look good, man. The putter's back.
I might be on. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's those missed cuts, so it hurt my feelings quite a bit. Like, he treated us so well, and then it was devastation for a while. Maybe. You like him?
I do. I played a little of them last week.
All right, then I'm on it. My boy,
mainly because it was your birthday and it was in Detroit. How am I not going to play Richie Werenski last week?
I know. I didn't, unfortunately. If you guys are both on him, he's back in my player pool.
We'll see what Uncle T says. Uncle T, 7K range, a range that is near and dear to my heart. That in the 6K range. Talk to me about this range. Who you on?
Yeah, as far as a whole, I agree with Hoop in the sense that I do like the mid to upper 7Ks just a little bit more than the lower 7K range, which is normally the opposite for me. Usually I like a lot of the value under 7,500 guys, but based off of how I'm probably going to build this week, I do like some of these upper 7K guys, and it starts with Kyle Stanley for me. Made 7 of 8 cuts, T18 here last year. Playing some pretty good golf. No real big top finishes. T8 at the Colonial about 4 weeks ago. But I do like Kyle Stanley a little bit. I think Charles Howell has some low odds. He's like 50-1 down here, which I don't get because he's not been in that great of form. So I'm going to pass on him. Beau Hossler, you mentioned him. I'm going to keep riding him. I didn't play him 3 weeks ago when he finished T19. I've been on him the last couple weeks, T10, T25. I'm going to be on Beau Hossler. He's a guy that he was in such poor form. And a lot of these guys, and Hoop, you might have mentioned it or at least alluded to it earlier, some of these guys that struggle for so long that are good quality golfers but have struggled, and then they start to find something, those are the times I want to keep riding these guys. And I think Beau Hossler, especially at a course like this, when he can make birdies in bunches. I do like to get on guys like that. So I do like Beau Hossler this week at 7,800. Dylan Fratelli is going to be a hard fade for me. Obviously, the tournament wasn't played last year, but in 19, Fratelli was the defending champ. I'm definitely not going to go back there. Like I said, I like some matchups against Fratelli this week. Harold Varner, I'm just out on. I need to see something from Varner before I can, he just doesn't.
Last week should have been Varner's week. I mean, they're in Detroit, and the whole week they're playing up the, a lot was talked about the inequities in Detroit and really helping out the community. So a lot of the, African-American golfers were getting kind of pumped up, and there's a big following surrounding these guys, which was great. And the guy that made the cut, that Willie Mack, the third, made his first cut on tour, and he had a big following. People were all behind him. A lot of people were there supporting Harold Varner, and he just sucked. That was his event last week to kind of, step up and play well. and he just couldn't do it. Maybe he's just not very good anymore. I don't know.
I just think he struggles, and I've mentioned it on this show, I know, a few times in the past. He just can't put 4 rounds together. He can usually play good for a couple rounds, and he's not consistent enough to get you what you need. And even in a field like this where it's watered down, 7,800 isn't like it's like dirt cheap. I mean, I don't know that I want to spend that kind of money on a guy that he finished T2 at the Heritage early April. That's been almost 3 months before he's had a decent finish. So I'm going to be out on Harold Varner. Pat Perez is a guy that we've been on quite a bit. I don't mind going back to him. But right next to him is a guy that we talked about earlier, Steve Stricker. And I know people probably, they'll probably laugh at me for making this pick, but I'm going to be really high on Stricker. I don't care what his ownership is. I know it's the senior tour, but it's still golf, but he's going back. He's been playing good there. He's going back to a course that he's real familiar with. You don't have to be overly long off to tee. There's no reason not to really have some shares of Steve Stricker. Am I all in? Absolutely not. But I'm definitely going to play me some Steve Stricker. Rowinski is a guy I'm targeting in some matchups as well. So I'm going to have some exposure to him in matchups, and I also like him in DFS. He's got 3 pretty good finishes here, a couple top 25s in his last 3 trips. So I like Richie Rowinski in this spot. But as you go down towards the bottom of this range, I do like the Patrick Rogers call at 7,400. But probably my favorite guy in the entire 7K range, probably with Hosler, is Scott Stallings. Really like Scott Stallings. He's got really good course history here. Coming off at T25 last time out and a couple missed cuts, but he's got a 3rd place finish in there as well the last month. So I don't know. I just feel like he's, again, at 7,400 point per dollar, he's a pretty good value down there. So really like Stallings. As you go down a little bit more, CT Pan kind of interests me a little bit. And then after you go there, Beau Hogue, our guy Beau Hogue. I'm not sure if it's Hogue or Hoagie, the one that you're on Hoop a lot, but Beau Hogue down there at 7,100, I have interest in him.
It's funny. Luckily, I was on mute. My kids are like going nuts. Oh man, it's summer's here, guys. Yeah, this range is really interesting. Let me start with one guy. I got to go to Steve Stricker, 3-time winner here, I believe. Maybe 4. Is it just 3?
3. He won it
in a row, right?
3 in a row.
Yeah. And then he has a T44 at the PGA. But he's got like what, Ryder Cup duties and stuff, right? Right, guys? Him and I forget who the captain
sure.
of
Stricker. Yeah, I believe, isn't he the captain, right? Stricker?
It's him or God, I can't remember. I should know this. But I'm showing 12 to 15% ownership for a 7.7K Steve Stricker, who he's been playing on the Champions Tour, but the last event he played was the Cologuard Classic, where he got T5, the Cologuard Classic. I mean, Uncle T. That's why we're paying a premium for Steve Stricker this week. I don't know. I get where you're at. I think I'm going to be a little different though. I'm not necessarily sold on him. There's so many young, good golfers up and coming. I don't think it's the same, it's not the same tour that we're used to. I think these young guys are going to be the guys that kind of, rise to the top. So I'm not necessarily sold. I get it though. Pat Perez though, he's been grinding the PGA Tour and he's hitting fairways and he's making putts. He's making a ton of putts. I have a ton of interest in him. So if I'm between the two, I'm definitely going to side with a Pat Perez because I just don't see Steve Stricker winning. And honestly, I just see if he makes the cut, it's going to be a T40, T30. I don't know if he's going to be in that winning lineup. So for me, I might be out on him, but I get the play. I 100% get the play for sure. Kyle Stanley's another guy where I don't know. His putter is so bad right now. And one of my criteria that I talked about is I want good putters. So while Kyle Stanley's going to put himself into positions to be there and make cuts, for me, in tournaments, I don't know if he's going to be that guy that can help to get me that win. If I was playing cash games, I think Kyle Stanley's probably a very, very safe play. But I'm going to try to make like some very defined cuts this week. I want guys that I really think have that winning upside. And I don't know. I'm not quite sold on Kyle Stanley. I do think he's safe when you're looking at, tee to green metrics. Putter, though, has been so bad. I'm with you guys on Harold Varner. I mean, the guy, like Hoop said it best, last week was his week. He didn't get it done. I'm not on him at all. Dylan Fratelli, our champion, our former champ, I'm not on him. Kramer Hickok, he obviously is a name that people are going to know now, but I'm not going to be on him. He's good at finding fairways, but I don't think he can make enough birdies for us here. He needs a hot putter, which is what we saw at the Travelers. I'm probably going to sell. I'm going to sell high on this guy. So it's Pat Perez, Werenski. I have some interest in Ches Reavie. My issue there again is the putter is not where we need it to be. Tom Lewis was a guy I was on last week. He looked very good through 3 rounds. Kind of lost it there on the final day. I'm going to go back to him, have a little sprinkle. The putter is trending in the right direction. I think, if you look at his results, T47, T25, I think he could continue to improve on that and post another solid round here. Scott Stallings is a guy I have a lot of interest in. Hot putter right now and decent at finding fairways. And then Bryce Garnett, a guy that let me down last week. He was very, very hurtful to me last week. Definitely let me down. But he's a guy who's a good putter, and he's good at finding fairways. He's good on short courses. I have interest in him. CT Pan, Brian Stewart, just a few other guys. Von Taylor, another guy down in the 7K range that I have a ton of interest in as well. Just hot putters, guys that are better, popping these shorter courses and, pop in weak fields. So, for me, my 1 and 2 in this range, if I were to, it's a big range. I'm going to say, it's tough. It's tough because it's like, we'll talk about the 6K range coming up, and we'll talk about the separation between that range and this range. But, if I had to give kind of a 1 and 2, I almost want to go with like a Stallings and a Von Taylor. Two guys I know Hoop, might be able to get on board. Guys that I know if we went back to the COVID times that you were pretty high on, that treated us very well. I might be looking at those type of names this week. So I might stick with that. Uncle T, what are your 1 and 2 in this range?
After all that spiel, and then you throw out Stallings. He's my favorite guy in that range, and you reluctantly took him as one of your plays. I love Scott Stallings. He's my favorite.
All right, we're locked arm in arm then.
Like you were like we were begging you to take him or something. I'm like, no, save him for me if you don't want him. But no, Scott Stallings is my number 1, and Hosler. I really like Beau Hossler. Again, I'm going to play some of these guys that are. Again, that have been playing poorly in the past, even going back at the end of last year, beginning of this year. Now they've got a little momentum. I'm going to kind of ride them out until they let me down. So I like Hosler a little bit. And the last thing I'll mention is I want someone definitely to love me like AP likes Ches Reavie. If I could ever get you to love me like you love Big Ches, I don't know what I would do. But he missed the cut last week. He was on one of my 3 builds last week from Florida when I made my teams with I didn't have. Did I have? I might have made one non-Bryson team because I know I had Ches in one team and I was 5 of 6 on all 3 teams. So, but anyway, I can't go to Ches this week.
He's a poor man's Brian Harmon, though. He really is. But Hoop, you're 1 and 2, and then take us into the 6K range.
Yeah, number 1 is definitely Patty Perez, and then number 2 is going to be Beau Hossler. I like Beau Hossler as well. Definitely like the higher 7Ks as opposed to the lower 7Ks. This is one of those weeks where I think I want to be ending most of my teams in the 7K range, and that's why it makes it hard to play a guy like Daniel Berger, because if you're going to play Berger, you're going to have to be in the 6K range. I don't know about you guys, but I really don't want to be down here all that often. Roger Sloan, I think, is a play at 6.9K. Made cut in 4 of his last 5 tries, 21st last week at the Rocket Mortgage. think he's a guy that we can look at 6.9K. Cameron Champ is a absolute disaster. I mean, he's got to be pretty close to not being on tour, right, Uncle T? I mean, his time's got to be running pretty thin here, right?
He's got it in his head right now. He's really, really struggling. I couldn't imagine playing him right now. He had a ton of talent. He's a real nice young kid. I mean, likable guy, but yeah, he's really.
How's he still playing in these majors though? Like, how is he in the PGA Championship?
He's got 2 wins.
Yeah. I mean, you look at his scores. I mean, there was a couple majors here, but plus 15, plus 5, plus 14 at the Memorial, plus.
All right. So, like, I'm not trying to interrupt, but, like, I feel like with him, it's these guys that hit it a mile off the tee. I feel like all they do now is practice their driving.
Yeah.
Phenomenal off the tee. He had no short game. He had no wedges, no approach, anything. I mean, it was an absolute disaster. And I feel like all these guys, I mean, he was hitting at 360, 370, but what's that going to do if you can't chip and putt? I mean, seriously, like, I feel like that's all these guys are practicing now. I might be wrong. Who knows? But Cam Champ, you can't play him, especially here.
He's really bad.
Yeah, Hoop, if you look at it as well, just put a cap on it real quick. You know, he's 6,800 in this field. Think about that. For as big a name, he's still a name in the golf, world. 6,800 in this type of field should tell you all you need to know.
His name's going to be having a KFT next to it pretty soon. That Corn Ferry Tour logo is going to be next to his name before you know it. I mean, he's a disaster.
Imagine if Ricky Fowler had to go down to the Corn Ferry Tour.
Wes Roach, I think, is speaking of Corn Ferry. But, back-to-back made cuts here on tour, 6.6K. I think you can look to him for a little bit. Our boy JJ Spahn is 6.6K. 2 made cuts in a row. Travelers, Rocket Mortgage. I don't think there's any reason why he can't do it again this week. I believe he was the notebook play last week, if I'm correct. Got the job done for us. Same price tag essentially on him. I think he's a play for us. Adam Long is a guy that's good off the tee. I think the course sets up well for him. Chris Baker, moderate interest at 6.5K. He can make birdies. He's got 3 straight made cuts, which included a 26 at the U.S. Open. So at 6.5K, definitely don't hate him. It dries up real quick, though. I mean, you start going down this list, and, I mean, there's just not many options. Josh Teeter, 6.3K. Maybe take a flyer on him. Kevin Tway at 6.3K, coming off the 14th at the Rocket Mortgage. Maybe take a flyer on him. But like I said, I really want to end most of my teams in the 7K range. If I don't have to come down here, I don't want to come down here. There's some dusty-ass names.
I got you. Uncle T, 6K range.
Yeah, I got Spencer S. in chat asking if Uncle T is okay. I'm actually struggling with a cold coming back from vacation. So, yeah, I've been sneezing and coughing on the air here, so hopefully hitting the mute button. But, yeah, if you're serious, thank you for checking on me, but I'm going to be okay. But the Roger Sloan, I do like at 6,900. T10 here last year. He's made 4 of his last 5 cuts. Have a lot of interest if we're going to go down here. Roger Sloan is a very good play. Adam Schenk is a guy that usually he's also at 6,900. Also a guy that usually makes a lot of cuts. Doesn't have obviously a ton of top 10 or top 15 upside, but generally he'll make the cut for you if that's what you're looking for. Ben Martin is coming off a couple missed cuts, disappointing missed cuts when people were on him a little bit. I do like him still a little bit this week. Still a really nice golfer, just coming off a couple tough weeks. Joseph Bramlett is one of my favorite plays down here, 6,600. Last week he shot 67 in round 1, similar to Kadira Hoop. He shot 67 in round 1, 76 in round 2. So Bramlett was crushing on day 1. He struggled quite a bit, missed a cut after that poor round on Friday. I'm not going to hold that against him. He does have a 25th and a T7 in his last 5 events. So, at 6,600, if we're kind of going to dumpster dive a little bit down here, I like Joseph Bramlett. I do like the Adam Long call. I do have him earmarked here. Wes Roach is a guy I know nothing about other than a couple people have talked about him. He finished T10 here last year, so I can get on board with a little Wes Roach. And Kevin Tway is another guy for the reasons you mentioned. If you have to go all the way down into that low 6K range, Kevin Tway is a nice play.
Very good. Yeah, this is a range that I actually will have some interest in this week. I have the notebook play. I don't fully have kind of my pool defined down in this range, but I do think there are a lot of viable plays. Adam Schenk, guys like you mentioned already, Adam Schenk, Roger Sloan, all fine plays. Like I'm not going to play Rafa Cabrera Bello. He's another guy that should be playing the Open, I believe. And honestly, I'm surprised he's not playing the Scottish Open. I think he won that a few years ago. So that's kind of surprising. Harry Higgs, I'm not on a guy like that. I'm not on Vincent Whaley. I know people got on him for a while there, but I don't know. I mean,
don't do it.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do it. The putter's fine. I don't know. I feel like we sell high on him. Cam Champ, like we talked about, no. Andrew Landry, no. Like, kind of like he's a guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he randomly popped. I mean, like if he was just a name that was randomly up there. The form has been really bad. But we've seen guys, like here's what I'm thinking of. Like Michael Kim, when he won this, he missed like 10 straight cuts in a row and then randomly won. So like, I don't think anyone would be surprised if like an Andrew Landry or a Danny Lee or like one of these random Cameron Percy, won this thing. I don't think anyone would be surprised. They're going to be super low on. So like, I'm not saying play everyone. We don't do that. I am saying like what I might try to do is I might have 39 or I might push my player pool 240. I haven't done it this year, and I'm always very good about staying under that 40 number. But I wouldn't be surprised if I finish with 39 and I have more exposure to this range because I do have interest in guys like Robert Strad. He's been kind of a cut maker. His putter's very good, and he's fine off the tee. Bronson Burgoon, he's very good off the tee. The putter's hit or miss. He's a guy that's treated me well in these weak field events. JJ Spahn, another guy I'm going back to. Not the notebook play again this week, but a guy that he was phenomenal off the tee and has been for quite some time. We just need that putter to show up. Scott Brown, another guy that's just, randomly decent in fields like this and fine off the tee, decent putter. Fabian Gomez, a guy we've been on T14 last week. I really like him. Again, this week, putter is trending in the right direction. He's kind of been getting it done. Just going down here. There's some random guys I'll have a little bit of like Kevin Tway feels like chasing, but he did look good last week. I mean, I'm not like sold on him, but he does have a T12 here in 2017. It's a weak field. It's one. This guy used to be decent, so I probably have him in my pool. I'm just not sure how much. Let me get to the notebook play. I actually feel very good about this guy. Uncle T, you mentioned it. You actually, like, I was, you
sound surprised. We're always on the same page.
I mean, Uncle T.
And surprisingly, though, the notebook play usually goes unmentioned.
I know it does. Ben Martin. So Ben Martin is 12th in finding fairways off the field relative to this field. His putter is trending in the right direction, which is important in my opinion. But the most important stat, so he finished second here in 2016. And guess what? Prior to that finish, he missed 2 cuts. And his form was a disaster. He lost 7 strokes tee to green at the Canadian Open, which is one of the easiest events of the year that these guys play in. And then he lost 4 strokes tee to green at the Travelers. Then he came into the John Deere and fired a 20 under just to lose, I believe, to who was it? Ryan Moore, who shot 22 under. But Ben Martin is going to be the notebook play of the week, 6,800 on DraftKings. I'm going to be overweight on him. I'm going to have 15 to 20% most likely. I like where his game's at. I like the fact that he finished T11 at the Wells Fargo, and he showed more upside at the Byron Nelson. I'm fine with the Palmetto miscut and the Rocket Mortgage miscut. I think this course is going to really fit his game. Not really like a long hitter. I just think he's going to bring, he's going to find fairways and he's going to bring that putter. And I think he's going to treat us well this week. So Ben Martin is my favorite play. My second favorite play in this range is, honestly, it could change. I'm probably going to go back to JJ Spahn. I'll do that for now, just to be safe. Hoop, what's your 1 and 2 in this range?
It's going to be, I think Spahn's my favorite. Your boy Spahn, definitely like him. Number 2 will be, give me. I don't have a 2. Spahn's my favorite.
Yeah, that's fine.
Maybe
Ben Martin is Hoop's number 2.
There we go. Tway, I do like Tway way down there, 6'3".
Okay, there we go. I love that. Then this dude he used to be good. He was a stick. I love that call. Uncle T, you're 1 and 2.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be Roger Sloan at 6,900, and I really like Joseph Bramlett in a little bit of a bounce back spot this week at 6,600. And real quick, if I could, guys, just because it was in chat, and I don't know that any of the 3 mentioned it. Back up there at 7,600, this Mito Pereira. I know you guys talked about him on the show last week. He's a Corn Ferry guy that was crushing, played last week, missed the cut at the Rocket. 7,600. I know Schneider in chat had some interest. Did any of us talk about him? I really kind of skimmed right over him. Do you guys have any interest?
I mean, I played him a little bit last week. I wasn't all that impressed with what I saw. I mean, he shot 72, 71, missed the cut.
Well, I thought maybe coming, a lot of pressure his first week playing on a tour.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the play. I mean,
more of a glorified Corn Ferry Tour event this week as far as the field type. So
yeah, don't hate it. If Schneider's on him, I'm on him.
Right, that's what I was bringing up.
I think I'll have more shares of him than Bramlett. I mean, my only thing about Bramlett is he's a distance guy. His biggest strength is that driver and distance off the tee. And I just, I get the play. I don't know if this is the track for an Uncle T, but I'm with you. Like he could definitely bring it, for sure. I am a Bramlett guy. This track is just weird.
I might be. We're hopefully not going to be down in this range too much, right? So
no. If you want
if I have him on one of my 5 builds, I'm okay with that.
If you want like a 0% owned guy, go play Zach Sucher, 6,100. He is literally the definition of John Deere. Go Google him, whatever. I mean, this dude, this is an event that, I think back in 2019 is the first year he played in it, and he just was loving it. He's a tractor guy, a country guy. So, he's going to be, that type of guy is going to be fired up. Let's get to our winners. Hoop, I'll kick it over to you. Who do you got winning this week?
I'm actually going to go to the top. I feel really good about Harmon. I think Harmon could come out and get a win here. The last few shows I've avoided the top range. I'm going to the top range. I'm going to take Harmon at the top. We come down. Going Patty Perez. I mean, Patty Perez he's been there. He's been close. We've been riding him. I think he's got a chance here to get a win. So give me Harmon up top. Our boy Patty Perez down low.
I like that. Uncle T, what about you?
Yeah, I was between 2 guys up top. I'm going to settle on Russell Henley. I do like the Harmon call, but I'm going to settle on Russell Henley there. I've got him 18-1 on DK Sportsbook, 18-1 for Henley. He came close here last year. He backdoored that 61 on Sunday to finish T2, and I know it's a year ago, but I just feel like good vibes sometimes and having that fresh memory of, of him playing that really nice round. And he's playing some good golf as well. So Russell Henley's my guy up top, and down low, I'm going to go down a little bit lower on my other guy. I'm going to go 66-1 Scott Stallings. I just think, again, in this type of field, AP, you mentioned it maybe on social media today or wherever it was in Discord that, none of us would be surprised if some of these guys down here in that 7K range or so, or even, maybe in the low 8Ks could come away with a win here. And I think maybe Scott Stallings pulls it off this week.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm doing for my, not so long shot. Alex Noren, I think he's 30 or so to 1. I really like where his game's at. I'm doubling down. Ben Martin. Let me find him real quick. 150 to 1, Ben Martin. I mean, man, this guy had a chance to win this thing back in 2016. He's shown upside this year. He has everything that you want, in my opinion, when you look at past winners here. Guys that have randomly showed upside, but maybe are coming in the most currently with some, maybe not so good, very recent form, but they've shown upside. And the areas where we're looking, off the tee, finding fairways, that's where they're popping. He's exactly that guy. And so Ben Martin, you could throw even an Adam Schenk in there too, another 150 to 1 type of guy. This is the week. If there's any week where you want to go out and just sprinkle, take $500 and sprinkle it on some long shots, get a pool of 5 to 7, sprinkle it, and have fun. This is definitely the week to do that on. So, all right, guys. Hoop, any final thoughts this week?
No, I mean, this is, one of those weeks where if you follow the tour week in and week out, hypothetically should have a, somewhat advantage over the field. A lot of our main guys are, firmly in play this week. So definitely looking forward to this. It's always nice to, kind of get some of these fields where we don't have the top name guys, more of these secondary guys, and a field where really you can make the case for a lot of winners. Like you said, you could take a few hundred, sprinkle it across the board, and a long shot winning here is definitely not out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, I agree. Uncle T, final thoughts this week?
Yeah, looking forward to the event. Again, even though it's a lesser field and maybe not as much attention given to this field with the Open next week. Again, our last major next week will be at Royal St. George's, where, the Open, Shane Lowry is the defending champion. How about him? Who's living better than Shane Lowry? You win the Open championship
good
in 19, and you get to be the reigning champ for 2 years because they didn't have the Open last year. So my man's a 2-year run on the defending champion from the Open, but
it's a perfect course for him too. I mean, have you guys seen the course yet? Tough fairways to hit. I mean, this is like a Shane Lowry course. It's just, I'm pumped for next week. Already kind of started looking, but it's going to be a ton of fun. Uncle T, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's all I was saying. Just it's like I said, so it's always a fun week. The Open, you get up early in the day, and you can get the golf in, and then me and Hoop can get out and get our yard done at 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a weekend. So I always like the British stuff.
Love it.
Good stuff. All right, guys. Yeah, I agree. So for all of our members, all the content's going to be up tomorrow. Playbook, cash chart, core plays, just like usual. One addition that we have this week, we are doing content for the Scottish Open. We're going to have a playbook up tomorrow for that. The field is stacked for that, and we'll be in Discord talking about strategy and everything. We'll have some core plays for you all with that. Maybe DraftKings will throw out some other contests out there for it. That'd be good. The contests that I was seeing were kind of weak, but hopefully they put out some more for it. And then, if you're not a member, you should be. Use the code RPSHeater25 to get 25% off your first payment for whatever package you decide to use. With that, I'm AP, Hoop, Uncle T. Let's all run here this week.